Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
We have a special guest today.
This is Steph.
That's me.
Yes. We are the
We
Three
have,
Musketeers.
yeah, there's will probably be trouble getting all three of
Yeah.
us together,
Yeah,
but
now you finally get to see all of us together.
this
Welcome to
is,
Lurking in the News,
yes,
Volume 4.
news. Alrighty. I don't think I have too much to chit chat about it. How about y'all?
No. But
And
if
I
you're
think
new
we
to
did
this,
enough chit-chatting beforehand.
yeah, we chit-chatted a lot. For
Yeah.
like 2 hours, I feel like.
It's been nice.
But if you're new to this, this is our episode where we tell you about current events happening in the true crime world.
Yes, and I am going to go first today. I am talking about Travis Decker. I didn't know about this actively going on until Kirsten brought it to my attention. So, in Wenatchee, Washington, on Friday, May 30th, around 5 p.m., 32-year-old Travis Decker had a custody visitation with his 3 daughters for 3 hours. An endangered missing persons alert was then issued when Travis failed to return with his 3 daughters after this visitation. The approval for this alert was denied originally by Washington State Patrol on Friday, but after the local police submitted more information, the Amber Alert was finally submitted and put out on Saturday morning. Decker took the girls to Rock Island Campground, and that is where on Monday, June 1st, they found the bodies of 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and Olivia, who was 5 years old. They were found to have been all strangled. Their bodies were discovered about 100 yards from Decker's 2017 white GMC, where police found it abandoned around 3:45 p.m. on Monday, June 1st. And after a more extensive search of the area, that is when they discovered the bodies. They were able to enter his license plate into the Flock database, where police were able to track his vehicle through automatic license plate reading cameras, which showed his vehicle going westbound on Highway 2 on Friday. The campground is located in a very remote area up a 17-mile road. A Forest Service deputy was patrolling on their motorcycle that day when they discovered the truck. The truck had 2 bloody handprints on the side of it, and it was found to have male DNA. There were zip ties and plastic bags found in the truck bed and blowing around the area. Decker's dog was also found alive in the area, and he was taken to the Humane Society. They believe he was homeless, living out of his truck, motels, and in and out of campgrounds. It was reported by the mother that Decker was suffering with untreated borderline personality disorder. Also, he was having financial issues on top of the homelessness. He owed back wages for child support and recently got a speeding ticket. The children always reported enjoying their visits with Decker, and he always brought them back. Immediately, local and federal agencies began the manhunt for Travis Decker. He is a military veteran and had extensive training and could be dangerous to approach. He served in the Army from March 2013 to July 2021. He had a 4-month deployment to Afghanistan in 2014. He also, from 2014 to 2016, was an automatic rifleman with the 25th Ranger Regiment at the Joint Base Lewis McCord. Lewis McCord. Decker also has the knowledge and the skills to survive in the woods, as he is an active outdoorsman. However, police are unaware if he is armed, but I would say more than likely he probably is.
Yeah.
Decker is 5'8", 190 pounds, with black hair, usually in a ponytail, and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a light-colored shirt and dark shorts. The police began their extensive search by checking motels, but after some information was found possibly suggesting Decker could be headed to Canada, what police found was that he had searched on Google information about moving to Canada. They believe Decker may be following the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail. This trail runs 2,650 miles from Mexico to Canada, traveling through California, Oregon, and Washington. A lone hiker sighting was reported and that the police investigated, leading to the discovery of possible items suggesting that Decker was in the area. He is believed to have gotten his head start on May 30th, putting him many days ahead of law enforcement. On June 6th, the Washington Governor Bob Ferguson brought in the Washington National Guard to assist with the search. They want to get him before he crosses the border, obviously. County Sheriff Mike Morrison believes Decker may have pre-planned supply drop areas and also scouted his escape path ahead of time. Officials even put out a warning to residents in the remote parts of the surrounding counties that they thought that he could be traveling in to keep blinds open, lights on, and all doors locked, including outdoor sheds and buildings. The search expanded over 2,900 square miles and continued for 3 weeks until they began to switch to a long-term strategy to continue the search. They used a massive amount of man-hours, including helicopter searches, drones, and search dogs. There were numerous reported sightings of a man acting unusual, avoiding others, and looking unprepared to be hiking the trail. He would be hiking through steep terrain, heavy forest, and high altitudes. The helicopter did spot a male who ran out of sight on June 10th, but it couldn't be confirmed to be Decker. By June 16th, new photos of Decker were released because they believed that he had changed his appearance, including shaving his head, and better pictures of his tattoos were also released. The U.S. Marshal Service was offering a $20,000 reward for any information leading to his capture. He is currently wanted for kidnapping and murder and still on the run. Sheriff Mike Morrison said until they find him dead, he believes him to still be alive, but there is speculation Decker may have killed himself. The girls attended Lincoln Elementary School. They were active in the Wenatchee Theater. They were enrolled in the children's drama program. Around 300 people attended the vigil held for Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia soon after they were found. And a public memorial was held on June 20th. And they asked everyone to wear purple, pink, and green for those 3 girls. A quote from the Wenatchee Theater reads, "Their joy, creativity, and spirit lit up our stage and our hearts. Though their time with us was far too short, the impact will forever be part of our story. May their light continue to shine in every performance we give. We carry them with us always."
It's sad.
Yeah. So they're still looking for him.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And their poor mom.
Yeah.
Just giving your kids over to a visitation and they get murdered.
Yeah, just following. She was following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Doing
I
what.
wonder what made him snap this time if all the other visitations went without incident.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very
What could
sad.
be going through someone's head that would, because it was pre-planned, obviously,
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's not like they just made him angry and he snapped.
Yeah.
Well, you did say that he was military, right?
Yeah, ex-military, yeah.
So he could have had like PTSD or something, and
Mm-hmm.
something just triggered him, and he didn't realize, who they were and did something stupid, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because also he was suffering with borderline personality disorder,
Yeah,
and I think that's a good point to bring up that our healthcare system and mental health care system is absolutely terrible,
Yeah.
here. So, and he was homeless and already struggling. So,
yeah,
And I think I did read in an article that he does have PTSD.
okay.
yeah. So something could have just triggered him, and he would have just
Yeah.
snapped, not
Which is
realizing
sad.
what was going on.
Maybe he was given the help he needed, this maybe wouldn't have happened. Not that it
True.
excuses him in any way, but
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
there's a lot of factors.
But cases like this really just hit it home the awareness of like how terrible the system really is.
Yeah.
That sometimes it comes to this, and what does it take a podcast to have to try and bring attention to it as much as we
Right,
can when we
yeah.
can, I guess.
yeah.
All right, next up, I'm talking about Pandora Kjolsrud and Evan Clark. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I listened to two different news articles, and both of them pronounced it differently. So, Pandora Kjolsrud was 18 years old and Evan Clark 17 years old. They are two teenagers who were found dead in a remote section of an Arizona national forest less than a week into their summer vacation. They set off for a Memorial Day weekend camping trip in May but never came home. Their bodies were discovered in Tonto National Forest near Mount Ord in Arizona on May 27, 2025. The teenagers attended Arcadia High School in Phoenix, Arizona, which is around 64 miles southwest of the forest they were found in. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office officials revealed the teens suffered from fatal gunshot wounds. The Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office listed both deaths as homicide and estimated that they died on the 26th, the day before they were found. Both families set up separate GoFundMes to help finance their funerals. Kjolsrud was described as a vivacious personality with an infectious smile that brought a joy to so many. She was a talented musician who enjoyed playing violin, cello, and guitar. Clark was described as funny, bright, kind, and entrepreneurial by his mother, Sandra Malibu Sweeney. He had several passions, including going to concerts, photography, cars, and trips to Malibu, California. And he was on his way to becoming a wonderful man, his mother said. Friends of the two have now set up a memorial at a viewing spot on Camelback Mountain where the group would often visit to watch the sunset together. As of June 10th, police are struggling with the investigation. The tips have sadly dried up, and investigators confirm they don't have any suspects or a motive. That means there is a threat to the community at this point. Maricopa County Sheriff.
Sorry.
That's hard to say. Maricopa County Sheriff Jerry Sheridan said, "We don't know who did this. Is that individual still out there or individuals?" The answer would be yes. We're being as transparent as possible. We just don't have a suspect at this point, and so we are asking for the help of the public through the media. Deputies asked that anyone with information or who was in the Mount Ord area on May 25th or May 26th to call the MCSO tip line at 602-876-TIPS, which is 8477. Callers can remain anonymous. At this point, their deaths are being considered suspicious.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's sad. Just graduating high school and
Yeah,
we're about
very
to, and
young.
it happens.
Yeah, that is very sad.
In a place they've been to before.
This world's scary.
It is.
Yeah.
Alright. My next person is Morgan Geyser. When Morgan Geyser was 12 years old, she idolized the fictional character known as Slender Man.
Oh.
On May 31st, 2014, Morgan Geyser, with her friend Anissa Wire, managed to lure Peyton, well, his last name, Lenore, into a secluded wooded area in a local park. They stabbed Peyton 19 times in the heart, diaphragm, liver, and stomach
Oh, God.
in order to prove Slender Man was real and to appease him. Peyton ended up surviving and crawled for help.
After
When they
19 stab wounds?
Yeah, yep. When they were interrogated by police, Morgan was found to have no empathy for her crime, but Anissa showed guilt and remorse. They were both found not guilty due to mental disease in 2017 and were committed to a mental health institute. Now, in March of this year, 2025, Morgan's release followed through at the age of 22 now. There were 3 psychologists who testified and approved Geyser for a supervised release. But there have been a few concerning incidents reported by prosecutors, including a verbally violent incident with a male outside of the facility. Geyser was released at the end of March to a group home for her supervised release.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we'll post pictures of what she looks like now. It's 12 to 22 now.
Yeah.
So
I remember that story.
Yeah.
I remember when that first came out. I remember that, and it was just like I could not believe someone would follow through with that just because of the belief of Slender Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to be so callous afterwards, to realize, okay, Slender Man doesn't exist. It was just an internet, phase that people just were, very into. But yeah, it's just crazy that someone would have done that, and then afterwards just didn't care. I mean, they were all very close friends. I know that at that
Yeah.
time, and that third had no clue that they were going to be attacked whatsoever by 2 of their friends. Yeah, that's rough. I could not. I don't know how that kid could have forgave their friends whatsoever.
yeah, I can't understand a 12-year-old's brain
Right.
doing
Yeah,
it.
to think through that all that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. How does a 12-year-old even think to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
there's
what
a lot of
their childhood was like or their parents.
Yeah, I was playing with my brats at 12.
Yeah. That works.
yeah. Yeah, I wasn't planning a murder.
No,
That's for sure.
No.
the internet is a hell of an influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad
That
we
is.
didn't really. I mean, we grew up with it, but not to the extent kids do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My next case is Jax Gratton. Since it is still Pride Month, my next story is featuring a transgender victim. Jax Gratton, 34, was last seen leaving her Denver apartment on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, near the 4200 block of East Iliff Avenue in Denver, Colorado. Jax left her apartment at approximately 10 p.m. and told her roommate that she'd be out for about 3 hours but never came back. Her mother revealed that despite having difficult periods with drug and alcohol abuse, her daughter was doing well at the time of her disappearance. She was a hairstylist and owned her own salon called Studio by Jax. She was a well-known figure in Denver's LGBTQ+ community. She was described as a light who inspired others, particularly within the transgender community, to live authentically. Gratton's disappearance sparked concern within the Denver's LGBTQ+ community, leading to several searches and flyers posted around the city. A decomposing body was found in a Lakewood alley on Friday, June 6, 2025, in the 9600 block of West Colfax Avenue, but was too decomposed to be identified. Gratton's loved ones kind of maybe assumed it may have been her, and they honored her life at a memorial held at Highlands United Methodist Church on June 9th, 2025. Earlier that day, friends and allies came together outside the Denver City and County building to demand more protections for the LGBTQ+ community, questioning whether Gratton could have been targeted due to her transgender identity. On June 10th, the Jefferson County Coroner's Office confirmed the identity of the body found over the weekend as that of Jax Gratton. The cause and manner of death have not yet been released. She was wearing the same clothes she had on the night she left her apartment. The Lakewood Police Department is reportedly partnering with the Denver Police Department on Gratton's death, which police have labeled as suspicious. Her friends describe her as genuine, caring, funny, and authentically herself, a friend who can never be replaced. Her friend and co-worker Aubrey Saikili said, "She just really brought so much energy and life into this space, and it's been very difficult without her being here. We're just going to miss her." There's still a lot of unanswered questions in this case, and we can hopefully share an update with you in the future when police finish investigating, because as of right now, we don't know who killed her or why.
That's all these LGBTQ plus, like, I remember when we first started researching some of these cases, it was quite sad how many there was to like really pick from and that you never hear about, and to hear like a recent one that obviously will probably wind up being a case someday that we could sit here and sadly cover.
Yeah. And not many news articles on a lot of these cases too.
Yeah, I bet you did struggle, to try, even though it was recent. Like, I bet you probably struggled to find information on this. My last news case. This one is a little positive, I guess. Doris Joanne Girtz, on June 20th, 1979, in Perry County, Pennsylvania, along Route 322, unidentified female remains were found. They were reported to have been thrown down an embankment. Oh my goodness.
I know I can't drink before we podcast because I keep stumbling over my words.
I know. Wet my whistle.
I'm so glad I'm not saying anything.
Got the easy job.
Yeah, I just get to comment if I feel like it.
They were reported to have been thrown down an embankment along the Juniata River shore. For the last 46 years, despite multiple attempts to identify these remains through DNA testing, until a breakthrough in DNA analysis in 2023 was able to identify these Jane Doe remains. Perry County got the funding to send the molars to a lab in Texas to perform this special testing. When the results came back, they were able to link the DNA to a woman located in Ohio. After traveling to Ravenna, Ohio, to interview family members and obtain more DNA to compare, we can positively identify these remains as Doris Joanne Girtz. She would have been 23 at the time. The manner of death is still unreleased. Troopers are asking anyone who was with Girtz between 1977 and 1979 or anyone with information on her death or disappearance to call state police in Newport at 717-567-3110 or PSP Tips at 1-800-472-8477.
That's sad. 23 years old.
Yeah, and was born in Ohio and found in Pennsylvania.
Right. So yeah, how'd she get here? Like, what happened? Who killed her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? Sticking your thumb out and getting rides.
Hitchhiking?
Hitchhiking.
That thing a lot of people don't do anymore.
Yeah, that was a big thing,
Yeah.
in the 70s.
Could have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. He said, they just recently, figured out the DNA, which is great. That's a great tool to have nowadays,
Yeah.
to kind of close some of these cases up, or at least get some resolution for the families to identify and confirm, deceased family members.
Yeah. Hell yeah, DNA.
Yep.
Yeah. Science, cool shit.
Yeah, it is.
If all I could just pinpoint who the murderer was.
I know.
Yeah.
Because it's good that she was found and identified, but now there's still a whole other investigation that needs to happen of what really happened.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't. And like Steph says, so long ago,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The victim or the perpetrator is probably dead now. It's very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are a true crime junkie, you've probably been following the John O'Keefe case and the Karen Read trial. So I'm not going to go into depth about the case. If you do want to hear a deep dive, Crime Junkie did recently release a 99-minute episode on the case on March 28th, if you want all the nitty-gritty details. But basically, John O'Keefe, he's a Boston police officer, and Karen Read is his girlfriend, or was his girlfriend. Karen Read, John O'Keefe, and a group of friends went to the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton, Massachusetts on the night of January 28, 2022. Reed consumed several alcoholic beverages, then drove O'Keefe to the home of Boston police officer named Brian Albert. That is where police said the people from the bar were meeting up to kind of continue their little party. John and Karen got into an argument, and she did not go inside with John. She just kind of let him out. Around 1 a.m., Reed left O'Keefe a voicemail saying things like, "You're a fucking loser, fuck yourself, John, I fucking hate you," things along those lines. At 4:23 a.m., while heavy snow was falling, O'Keefe's niece called Jennifer McCabe, who is Brian Albert's sister-in-law. So Brian Albert is the homeowner where the party was happening. So O'Keefe's niece called her to let her know that Reed was distraught because O'Keefe had not come home and was not answering any of her cell phone calls. Reed drives back over around later in that morning, and they go to look for Keefe. It's her, McCabe, and a third woman looking for O'Keefe. Prosecutors said Reed mentioned to the women that she had a crack in her taillight and wondered if she could have hit O'Keefe. At 5:07 a.m., a surveillance camera at the O'Keefe's house shows Reed's SUV coming extremely close to O'Keefe's SUV in the driveway. So Reed's defense argued that her vehicle did strike the SUV, and that's what caused the broken taillight. Around 6 a.m., Reed sees O'Keefe lying in the snow in Brian Albert's yard, and she became hysterical and inconsolable. It was found later that Jennifer McCabe searched how long does it take someone to die in the cold. An ATF agent at the party, Brian Higgins, acknowledged at trial that he destroyed his phone and SIM card after O'Keefe's death and disposed of them in 2 different locations at a military base.
Because that's not suspicious.
Yeah.
That's not suspicious at all. The
We
defense
do that all
argues,
the time.
right. The defense argues that the police officers at the party and others there are involved in O'Keefe's death and trying to frame Reed in a cover-up. O'Keefe even had scratches on his arms, and there is a picture that they show during trial, likely from a dog, and there was a dog at that party, so they think there was a fight that broke out. The dog attacked him. Police say they found a broken cocktail glass and pieces of taillight at the scene. A forensic toxicologist estimated that Reed's blood alcohol content would have been around 0.13 to 0.29 around 12:45 a.m. when she was dropping him off, more than the legal limit. An autopsy was performed, and the ME ruled the cause of death was blunt impact injuries to the head and hypothermia. If Reed accidentally backed up into him, she wouldn't have ran into his head. Like, she would have hit his hips or his legs and knocked him over.
Yeah.
Unless he was bent over, but that's very unlikely.
Yeah.
Right, because he was getting out the front, like the passenger seat. She was dropping him off.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to this story, and there is a lot of evidence proving Reed did not kill him. On Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, Reed was acquitted of second-degree murder. So this has been kind of national news that she got acquitted. And I agree. Regardless of what happened that night, there is not enough evidence to convict her. So I totally am with what the jury decided. A Norfolk County jury also acquitted Reed of 2 lesser charges: motor vehicle manslaughter while driving under the influence and leaving the scene of a collision that caused the death of John O'Keefe. She was only convicted of operating under the influence of liquor. She was sentenced to 1 year of probation immediately after the verdict was read. And that's kind of it. So we still don't really know what happened to him. Did the other officers... Were they involved? Were they involved in an altercation inside and just dumped him outside in the front yard? Because, I mean, even if Karen did hit him, like, how did he end up in the yard then?
Yeah. Well, it's a bit suspicious of someone searching. How long does it take for someone to die in the cold? And then also destroying their
phone. And why
phone.
is someone disposing of their cell phone at a military base?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit suspicious.
Yeah, very suspicious.
But it's sad though, because like, that's it. They won't look into that because if it's the answers that we think it is, they're not gonna prosecute. They're not gonna sit there and.
Yeah, they already went after the person that they wanted to go after,
and
it failed. So yeah, they're done.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to continue investigating who really did it.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, we've covered how many cases with police corruption already. This is probably just going to add to that list.
Yep. All the time, man.
Mm-hmm.
But at least the person that didn't do it didn't get charged,
Right.
And kind of, got thrown under the bus for it.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't share many details. I'm just kind of going over the fact that she was acquitted. But if you want the full story, it's out there.
Is it my turn?
I guess so. That was my last case.
It's not my turn, that's for sure.
No. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Steph, for joining us. I'm sure this will not be the last time.
No, I don't think it will be.
I hope you enjoyed yourself. So make like a shadow and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast.
Check us out on TikTok at
Lurking in the Shadows Pod.
And what's our last one? Oh, Gmail us. If you have any questions, concerns, or case suggestions, shoot us a Gmail at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast at gmail.com. And keep lurking around for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.